Let me ask you something powerful. If I gave you a check for $1 million right now, but told you that in 1 year you would lose it all unless you changed the way you think, would you accept that money? Most people would take the check, but few would realize that money without the mindset is a curse, not a blessing. Because here's the truth they don't teach you in school. Wealth isn't paper, it's not gold, it's not even business. Wealth is thought. Yes, your thoughts are your wealth. In the next few moments, I'm going to show you why everything you've ever wanted, financial freedom, personal power, peace of mind, it all starts in your head, long before it ever shows up in your hands. Don't blink, don't scroll, because the moment you shift your thinking, your world begins to bend to your belief. And by the end of this speech, you'll understand exactly how to transform your thoughts into tangible riches. Let's begin. Every great fortune you see today started as an invisible thought in the mind of a man or woman who refused to let that thought die. A car, a skyscraper, a billion-dollar brand, none of it appeared by chance. It began as an idea, backed by belief, fueled by desire, and driven by relentless action. But here's where most people fail. They let their dominant thoughts be fear, worry, and doubt, and then wonder why they're stuck in financial struggle. You can't think poverty and expect prosperity. You can't dwell on lack and expect abundance. Your dominant thoughts are the architects of your destiny. If you keep telling yourself, "I'll never get out of debt," "I'm not smart enough to build something big, I'm just trying to survive," then don't be surprised when life delivers exactly what you ordered. But when you start feeding your mind thoughts like, "I am worthy of wealth, I create opportunities effortlessly, my ideas are valuable," now you begin to unlock a new frequency, a mental vibration that attracts people, solutions, and wealth-building ideas to you. Let me remind you, your mind is a factory. Your thoughts are the blueprint, and your life is the result. Everything that exists in this world that is of value, whether it's a magnificent skyscraper, a flourishing business empire, or a groundbreaking invention, began as a simple, unseen thought in someone's mind. The true origin of wealth does not reside in banks, markets, or economies. It lives first in the mind. Before a dollar ever touched someone's hand, it passed through the realm of imagination, faith, and vision. Pause for a moment and look around you. The device you're holding, the clothes you're wearing, the building you're sitting in, all of it was once a mere concept. Somebody thought it. Somebody dared to believe that the invisible could be made visible, and that bold, unseen thought, when held with faith and clarity, turned into wealth. But this truth is often hidden from the eyes of the average thinker. We are taught to chase money, to seek opportunities outside of us, as if wealth is something that exists out there waiting to be found. But the truth is far more empowering. Wealth is not found, it is created, and it is created first in thought. The great tragedy of life is that millions go to their graves without realizing that they were carrying a gold mine between their ears. Their thoughts were scattered, weak, and unfocused. They let their circumstances dictate their thinking instead of allowing their thinking to transform their circumstances. They never knew that a thought once fully believed and acted upon had the power to change everything. Every wealthy individual in history has understood this, whether they admitted it or not. They protected their thoughts like treasure, knowing that one idea, properly nurtured, could open the floodgates of abundance. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't need approval. They listened to that inner whisper, the one that said, "It's possible," and they allowed that whisper to grow into a roar that silenced all doubt. If you look at someone who has built great wealth, you'll find that their fortune didn't start with money. It started with a vision, a mental picture of something greater. That vision might have seemed crazy to others, but they refused to let go of it. They obsessed over it, they dreamed about it, and more importantly, they believed it. That belief gave birth to decisions, those decisions led to actions, and consistent actions rooted in thought created results. That's how wealth is born. The thought is the seed, the mind is the soil. But the seed only grows when it is watered with belief and action. You can't just think and wait. You must think, believe, and move. But without the thought, there is nothing to move toward. Without the idea, there is no destination. The thought is the first currency of wealth. You might be in a place right now where your bank account is empty, your resources are limited, and your options feel narrow. But I want to tell you something that can alter the trajectory of your life. You are already wealthy if you know how to think. The moment you realize that your thoughts can build bridges over obstacles, turn ideas into income, and attract the right people into your path, you are no longer broke. You are building wealth at the deepest level. But beware, Thoughts can also be poisoned. If left unmanaged, they can produce the opposite of wealth. Thoughts of fear, thoughts of limitation, thoughts of lack. These too grow when watered, and they produce a harvest of mediocrity, disappointment, and poverty. The mind does not discriminate. It simply produces what you plant. So the question becomes, what thoughts are you planting daily? What are you feeding your mind? Are you thinking of what's possible, or are you trapped in what seems practical? Are you dreaming big, or doubting yourself small? The person who understands the power of thought becomes the master of their destiny. They no longer wait for opportunity, they create it. They no longer hope to be rich, they think in a way that attracts it. They no longer fear failure because they know that every setback is simply the universe asking, how strong is your thought? You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to know every step. You only need to hold the thought with such clarity, such intensity, that life itself bends in your favor. People will call it luck. They will call it fate. But you will know it started with a thought. So take a moment, close your eyes, and dare to imagine something greater. See yourself successful. See yourself free. See yourself walking boldly in purpose. That image you just created, hold on to it. That's your new blueprint, and if you're brave enough to keep believing in it, speaking about it, and acting toward it, wealth will follow. It must. It's the law. Because at the end of the day, the richest people in the world are not those with the biggest wallets. They're the ones who understood one eternal truth. Your thoughts are your wealth. You are not what your birth certificate says. You are not what your current circumstances suggest. You are what you think about, consistently, repeatedly, obsessively. Your dominant thoughts carve the shape of your identity, your habits, your future. This isn't just a motivational saying. This is a spiritual, mental, and universal law. Everything you are today, everything you're experiencing is the harvest of yesterday's thoughts. And everything you will become tomorrow is being formed by the thoughts you're entertaining right now. Most people live life on autopilot. They allow thoughts of fear, failure, and insecurity to cycle through their minds day after day, and then they wonder why their life feels heavy, limited, or stuck. The truth is brutal but liberating. If you're always thinking small, you will live small. If you're always thinking in lack, you will live in lack. If you keep thinking that success is for other people, then that success will continue to pass you by. You cannot rise above the level of your thinking. A person who constantly feeds their mind with doubt can't expect to act in confidence. A person who constantly envisions loss cannot prepare themselves for gain. Your thoughts are not just mental chatter. They are commands to your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind never argues. It simply obeys. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough long enough, your actions will start to align with that belief. You'll hesitate, you'll procrastinate, you'll avoid opportunities, not because the opportunity wasn't real, but because your mind was rehearsing a version of you that isn't worthy. And when you rehearse a version of yourself enough times, you become it. But here's the incredible power you've been given. You can change the channel. You can choose a new frequency. You can begin to think higher, see farther, and speak stronger. And the moment you begin to do that, something shifts. Your posture changes, your energy changes, your decisions change, and slowly but surely your life begins to change. Think about it. Every high achiever you know, every successful entrepreneur, leader, or innovator started in the same place, the mind. They had thoughts of greatness, thoughts of purpose, thoughts of creation, but most importantly, they had consistent thoughts. They didn't think big once and then go back to small. They held the image of their success in their minds daily until it became more real to them than their current reality. Your mind is a magnet. It attracts what you focus on. If you constantly think about problems, you'll attract more problems. If you constantly think about solutions, opportunities will appear. It's not luck. It's alignment. The person who becomes successful is not the one who works the hardest, but the one who thinks the clearest. Because clear thinking leads to bold decisions, and bold decisions change lives. There are people who have all the talent, all the connections, all the resources, but they still fail. Why? Because their dominant thoughts are of fear and doubt. On the other hand, there are people with almost nothing. No money, no support, no obvious advantage, but they win. Why? Because their dominant thoughts are of faith, vision, and determination. You don't become wealthy just by wanting wealth. You become wealthy by thinking like someone who already is. That means carrying yourself with confidence, making decisions with purpose, and walking into every room as if you belong there. Your mind must go there first before your feet ever do. This truth applies to every part of life. Health, relationships, purpose, peace. If you want it, you must first think it. If you want to be free, think freedom. If you want to be strong, think strength. If you want to build something meaningful, think about it every day until that thought becomes so strong it pulls you into action. But here's the warning. Your mind will also become what you neglect. If you don't choose your thoughts, your past will choose them for you. If you don't decide what to focus on, your fears will. That's why so many people feel stuck, not because they don't have potential, but because they've never been taught to think on purpose. So you must ask yourself, what am I consistently thinking about? Are my thoughts leading me toward the future I want, or are they chaining me to a past I should have let go of? Start today. Start now. Begin feeding your mind with the thoughts that align with the life you desire. Visualize it, speak it, journal it, surround yourself with people and environments that reinforce that thinking. Because repetition creates reality, and the more you think a thought, the more your brain hardwires it into your system. Eventually, that thought becomes a belief. That belief becomes a habit. That habit becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle becomes your destiny. You don't need to force change overnight, but you do need to take control of your thinking. Because once you do, you'll realize something extraordinary. You're not waiting to become someone, you're already becoming through every thought you allow to live in your mind. So choose wisely, think powerfully, and remember, you become what you consistently think about. Everything that exists today, every building, every invention, every masterpiece, every movement was once invisible. It lived only in the mind of one person before it ever showed up in the physical world. The phone in your hand, the car you drive, the home you live in, the career you desire, the relationships you crave, they all start in one place, your mind. Your thoughts are not meaningless. They are blueprints. They are instructions you are constantly sending out to your future. Long before anything touches your hands, it must pass through the factory of your imagination. This is where your destiny begins. Not in your job, not in your degree, not in your circumstances. It begins in your ability to imagine something greater than your current situation and believe in it with such intensity that the world has no choice but to respond. Nothing ever becomes real until it is first seen clearly in the mind. If you cannot picture it, you cannot pursue it. If you cannot believe it, you cannot build it. That's why the richest land on earth is not the gold mines of Africa or the oil fields of the Middle East. It is the human mind, because within every mind lies the potential to create something that has never existed before. The tragedy is most people never tap into that power. They let their external environment dictate their internal imagination. They let their past experiences become the limit of their future possibilities. They see struggle, and so they dream small. They experience pain, and so they expect less. But those who succeed, those who transform their lives, do the opposite. They learn how to live from the inside out. They understand that it doesn't matter what's around them, as long as they can master what's within them. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need to see the vision. The how will come as long as the why is clear and the image in your mind is strong. You must be able to see it so vividly that your heart starts racing just thinking about it. You must be so emotionally connected to that vision that you begin to move toward it without even thinking. That's not fantasy. That's faith. That's the spiritual force behind every great achievement in history. Look at every legendary figure who ever changed the world. They were told it was impossible. They were laughed at, misunderstood, criticized, rejected. But they kept going, not because the road was easy, but because the image in their mind was stronger than the resistance in their reality. They weren't walking by sight, they were walking by inner vision. That same power is within you, right now. You may not see the results yet, you may not feel supported yet, but none of that matters if the image in your mind is clear, because once the mind accepts something as true, the body and the world start aligning to make it happen. If you see yourself as strong, you begin acting with strength. If you see yourself as worthy, you begin making decisions that reflect that worth. And slowly the world begins to match what you've been seeing all along in your inner world. Your mind is not a storage room, it's a creative studio. Stop replaying old memories and start rehearsing new possibilities. If you don't like what you've been experiencing, don't try to fix the outside first. Go within. Because no change happens on the outside that wasn't first conceived and built on the inside. If your life feels stuck, it's not because the dream is too big, it's because your inner image is too small. You've been spending too much time focusing on what's missing instead of what's possible. Your mind has been filled with doubt, fear, regret, or guilt, and those thoughts have built a reality that reflects those emotions. But you can change it. You can start today. Close your eyes and picture the life you truly want. Not the one people told you was realistic, not the one your fear tells you to settle for, but the one your spirit longs for. See it clearly. See yourself living it, smiling in it, winning in it, thriving in it. Hold that image and revisit it every single day, morning and night, because repetition builds belief. and belief fuels action, and action brings results, and results build confidence. But it all begins with the seed you plant in your mind. Do not be deceived by how things look right now. Mountains are moved by minds that refuse to accept limitations. Wealth is built by minds that refuse to accept scarcity. Legacy is built by minds that refuse to be ordinary. If you can hold it in your mind long enough, you will hold it in your hands. This is the law. This is the truth. This is the way the universe responds to your energy, your focus, and your faith. You are the architect of your future. Your life is the building, and your thoughts are the bricks. What you lay down today becomes the foundation of what you walk into tomorrow. So guard your mind, discipline your imagination, feed your thoughts with vision, purpose, and certainty. Because the greatest things in life are not built by chance. They are built by conscious, consistent, courageous thought. Your success story is not waiting somewhere outside you. It is waiting for you to see it. First in your mind, then in your words, and finally in your actions. Everything you want already exists. All you have to do is build it in your mind. There's a secret doorway that only a few ever walk through, a hidden law that governs the way success finds its way to you. That doorway is not a place, it's not a person, it's not a lucky break. It is a thought, a consistent, burning, unwavering thought of wealth. Because the truth is, wealth does not chase the one who needs it, it chases the one who expects it. Your thoughts are magnetic. Whatever you focus on with intensity and repetition, you begin to draw into your life. If you constantly think about lack, limitation, and poverty, your mind tunes into those frequencies, and that's what you begin to see more of. But if you make it your mission to dwell on wealth, on abundance, on value, on growth, then your mind sharpens like a magnet, pulling the exact ideas, people, and opportunities that align with that wealth. You've seen it yourself. There are people who seem to always get lucky, who walk into rooms and end up leaving with new deals, new investors, new solutions. It's not that life favors them, it's that their mind is already positioned to receive. Their thoughts have been groomed to believe wealth is natural, expected, and even inevitable. And because they believe it so deeply, they see the doors that others are blind to. They act on chances others hesitate to even recognize. You will never attract what you do not believe you deserve. That's why so many people push away wealth without even knowing it. They say they want more, but they're thinking, it's too hard. I'll never have enough. I'm not lucky like them. I wasn't born into it. And every one of those thoughts creates an invisible wall between them and the wealth they say they're chasing. Wealth is not just about money. Wealth is a mindset. It's a thought pattern that values growth, contribution, impact, and purpose. When your thoughts align with wealth, you start to feel wealthy, even before the money arrives. You begin to act, speak, move, and build from a place of abundance, not desperation. And that's what creates momentum. You can tell what a person truly believes by what they consistently expect. If your mind expects struggle, you'll find it. If your mind expects breakthroughs, you'll recognize them when they show up. The problem is not that opportunities don't come. The problem is most people are mentally asleep when opportunity knocks. But there's good news. You can train your thoughts to expect wealth. Start by changing your language. Speak like a person of value. Talk like someone who sees possibilities. Walk into every situation believing something powerful is about to happen. Why? Because thoughts become emotions. Emotions become actions, and actions create your future. This isn't wishful thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is aligning your subconscious with your destiny. The wealthiest minds don't just think rich. They train their thinking to see where value can be created, where needs can be met, where innovation can thrive. They don't wait for a raise. They create the value that makes them irreplaceable. They don't wait for permission. They think like owners, not renters. When your thoughts are filled with the idea that you are here to build, to grow, to serve at a high level, then life starts presenting you with doors that were always there, but now your eyes are finally open to them. Here's the part most people miss. Wealth doesn't come to you in finished form. It shows up looking like a small idea, a simple conversation, a passing moment of inspiration, a person you randomly meet. But if your thoughts are in the right place, if they are tuned to see abundance, you'll recognize that spark for what it is, a seed, and you'll plant it, nurture it, and eventually harvest it. That's why your thoughts must be guarded like treasure. Every time you entertain a thought of lack, you water the weeds. But every time you choose to think bigger, think longer, think deeper, you plant a tree. And trees bear fruit. If you want to attract wealth, stop obsessing over the money and start obsessing over the mindset that makes money inevitable. Think like a person who solves problems. Think like a person who brings value. Think like a person who creates more than they consume. Think like someone who knows they are meant to rise and stay risen. It all begins with thought. A single powerful thought of purpose, of strategy, of abundance. That thought becomes a belief. That belief becomes a standard. That standard becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle draws wealth like gravity. So ask yourself right now, what are you consistently thinking about when it comes to your future? Are you thinking like a survivor or a creator? Are you thinking about bills or about building? Are you thinking about escaping your current life or designing your next level? You are one decision away from changing the direction of your thoughts, and when you change the direction of your thoughts, you shift the direction of your entire life. Wealth is not found, it is built, and the first brick is always a thought. Every day you are moving. Whether you realize it or not, you are drifting towards something. The direction of your life is not determined by the weather, the economy, or the opinions of others. It is determined by the dominant thoughts you entertain every single day. Those thoughts act like a compass, slowly but surely steering your actions, shaping your emotions, and pulling your destiny into view. What you consistently think about, good or bad, you are building a relationship with. You are feeding it. You are watering it. You are giving it life. Your mind does not know the difference between what you want and what you fear. It only knows what you focus on. And whatever you focus on expands. If you constantly think about failure, you begin to act in ways that protect you from risk. And in doing so, you block your own growth. If you constantly think about rejection, you hesitate to connect, to reach out, to ask for what you deserve, and you shrink into a smaller version of yourself. But if you think about winning, you begin to move differently. You speak with conviction. You show up with purpose. You act with boldness. And slowly you attract the very results you believed were possible. You see, the mind is like a GPS. It can only take you to the place you set as your destination. If your thoughts are set on struggle, that's where you're headed. If your thoughts are set on purpose, abundance, and growth, then life begins to align in ways you couldn't predict. People show up. Doors open. Resources find you, but only after you have set your mental GPS to that outcome through consistent, focused thinking. This is why you must be ruthless with what you allow into your mind. Every thought is either lifting you toward your destiny or pulling you away from it. There is no neutral thinking. Your mind is always moving you somewhere, so you must take control of the wheel. The problem is that most people live on autopilot. They don't monitor their thoughts. They don't question the narrative in their head. They let worry, doubt, comparison, and fear take the lead, and then they wonder why their life feels like a cycle of frustration. The truth is, if you don't choose your thoughts, the world will choose them for you. And the world doesn't always have your best future in mind. You must decide every day what you are going to think about. Not once a month, not when things get hard, every single day. You must choose thoughts that align with your future, not your past. Thoughts that reflect where you're going, not where you've been. When you do this, something powerful happens. Your subconscious mind begins to rewire itself. You stop sabotaging opportunities. You stop doubting yourself in critical moments. You begin to walk into rooms with a different energy. You become a magnet for the life you've been visualizing, and the people around you notice it even before you do. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. This is about knowing that even in imperfection there is growth. This is about consistently thinking like the person you are becoming, not the one the world tried to label you as. Whatever you give your attention to, you give your energy to, and wherever your energy goes, your life flows. That's why it's not enough to wish for a better future. You must think it, live it, breathe it until it becomes your natural state of being. Greatness is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of consistent thought turned into focused action. Think about any champion, any leader, any icon. They didn't just wake up and fall into success. Long before the world saw their results, they were working on their mindset in silence. They were thinking about excellence while others were thinking about excuses. They were thinking about mastery while others were thinking about comfort. They were thinking about legacy while others were thinking about the weekend. Your life is a reflection of your dominant thoughts. Not your background, not your resources, not your IQ. Your thoughts. Because your thoughts determine your behavior, and your behavior creates your results. So if you want to change your results, you must first change the thoughts you allow to repeat in your mind. Imagine the life you want. Visualize it clearly. Then think about it daily. Let it become your obsession, not from a place of desperation, but from a place of clarity and alignment. Let it shape the way you speak, the way you plan, the way you execute. Because whatever you think about the most is where your life is headed. This is why discipline of thought is the highest form of personal development. It's not enough to motivate your body. You must elevate your mind, because your body will never go where your mind hasn't already visited. You want change? Start with the mind. You want results? Start with the mind. You want wealth, purpose, peace, freedom? It all starts with your thinking. What you believe is possible, what you expect, what you envision, what you affirm. This isn't philosophy. This is reality. Thought is the first step to transformation. So ask yourself, what am I consistently thinking about? Is it building my future or binding me to my past? Is it pushing me forward or keeping me stuck? Change your thinking, change your life, because whatever you consistently think about, you move toward.